What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and man, it's getting to be some dark days over here in DC, ain't it? Dark days, boy, oh boy, and you don't have a Henry Cavill to look forward to that's gonna come and save your film, right? You don't have that, nothing to save your universe. This thing is just dying on the vine. Absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. Flash grossing $15 million in its second domestic weekend, a 73% drop. And yeah, that's who you got. You got Ezra Miller. Y'all threw your hat in the ring with Ezra Miller. And then this guy, the director was talking, oh yeah, man, it's a possibility Ezra can come back. I can't see nobody else playing the Flash. Ezra's our guy. All right. Yeah, now what do you think about that situation? You think Ezra's still your guy? You know, I heard somebody else saying this, and I didn't even think about this from a standpoint of female audiences, right? Like, the female audience doesn't have, like, this hunk of a guy that they just, just like, Big Chad, like a Chris Hemsworth or a Chris Evans, a dude that looks amazing, and he's just, like, just hunky guy. They got this little dweeb, this little dweeb that's running around the country doing all kind of BS and nonsense. That's who they got to play this character. Who was coming to see this film? Okay, the hardcore DC fans like myself, and that's it. And it looks like that's all they got. They got a couple of people maybe curious to see if the film was any good, and the film isn't bad. I mean, it's not horrible. It's definitely not as bad as this film that they're showing next to it, Morbius. But it's about a 6 out of 10, I would say. It's a 6 out of 10, solid. But yeah, 73% drop. Nobody's checking for this film whatsoever. And yeah, now you got to sit back and think, are we on the right track? Are we on the right track as DC? Look, this universe is coming to an end. All right. But still, it carries the DC brand with it. All right. The DC brand is going to start looking like, okay, your last 5 films that came out of your film universe was Black Adam, right? That didn't do so well in the box office. Then you get Shazam. Then you got Flash. You got Blue Beetle and Aquaman, and that's it. That's it. That's all. You're not going to get anything else until Superman Legacy. So what is the status right now? That's my question. What is the status right now for the DC universe going into James Gunn stuff if these films are all flopping all over the place? If these things aren't making any money, and again, this is still the DC brand. You can try to say, oh, it's a new universe. Yeah, that's fine, but it's still the DC brand. So the brand is taking major brand damage, just like we've seen with Marvel. Marvel's taking brand damage. Now DC's taking brand damage. And people are just going to check out. Nope, I'm not interested. They'll still go and see Batman. Batman will probably still be okay. But nothing else has really caught the energy and the attention of Batman in any of these other DC properties. So you have to start to wonder, what is James Gunn about to do? What is going through his head right now? Because again, you're seeing 73%. And the Flash isn't some like minor character that nobody's ever heard of. Okay? There's a whole CW series on the Flash. So if you can't get the Flash right, okay? Again, it's the brand damage, man. We've been seeing it all year. All of these major IPs, Star Wars, Pixar, Marvel, all taking humongous amounts of brand damage. They're getting absolutely clubbed over the head by bad television shows, all right, or bad movies, and just bad press all the way around for their brand. So when you see that DC logo like appear on a thing, it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be trash. I'm not even going to watch it. James Gunn has some rehabilitation to do for the DC brand itself before Superman Legacy even gets here. He's going to have to do a whole lot of brand fixing, rehab, brand rehab. Just like this dude right here, this cat is supposedly in rehab. They're going to have to go to brand rehab and fix the DC brand before we even get to Superman Legacy. Otherwise, the stink of all of these bad films and everything that they're putting out there is just going to carry over. Again, this is one of the reasons why I said you had to keep Henry Cavill, if for no other reason that Henry Cavill was one of the things that absolutely worked and that fans were excited for. Nobody hated Henry Cavill as Superman. Nobody. Okay? Maybe they didn't like the movie. Maybe they didn't like, okay, well, we really not feeling like what they did with this character. But Henry Cavill as an actor, Henry Cavill in the suit, he looks perfect. He's fine. Let's just get a better movie to go along with that, and we good to go. Like I said, he would have fit, and then he would have fit that hunky guy that's, yeah, he's a hunk. And, women would have said, oh, we'll show up to see Henry Cavill walking around with his shirt off. But how did women feel when this dude showed up with his shirt off? Women probably probably was in the theater like, oh, God, hurry up, get to the next scene. I ain't trying to look at this, because I know that's how we was doing as dudes. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Yeah, so this is on the direct. The Flash movie suffers worst drop in DC history in the box office. Let's go ahead and read this. The Flash took a dive in its second weekend at the domestic box office, beating out an unfortunate DC record. DC has had a tough year at the box office, no shit, as far as its releases. The final 4 movies of the old studio regime ahead of James Gunn's DCU reboot. Shazam! Fury of the Gods became the worst earner in DCEU history with a disappointing worldwide haul, something the studio reportedly, at least partly, blames on the imminent superhero reboot. It's 100% on the reboot, okay? Again, Shazam is actually slightly better than the Flash. Not great, but it's actually slightly better. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I mean. Slightly better than the Flash, all right, as far as I'm concerned. But it's the reboot. Nobody's coming to watch a dead franchise, a dead universe. If you had said, hey, you know what? We're keeping all of this stuff. Even if you weren't going to keep it. You know, you're going to change your mind in 2024. Oops, sorry, psych, we fooled you. Okay, we actually dumping all of this shit. But you could have at least said, you know what? We're planning on keeping everything. So go out and check those movies out because we're going to figure out how we can loop all of that crap into the entire DCU that I'm going to, you know, present to you in 2025, blah, 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 whatever. You could have made some kind of a statement. And yeah, you would have got called a liar, but these films would have did at least a little bit better. But right now, these films are absolutely going to tank. Every last one of them. Blue Beetle is next. All right, here we go. The Flash takes a historic dive at the box office. As shared by box office expert Luis Fernando, The Flash suffered a massive drop at the domestic box office in its second weekend, grossing an estimated 15.3 million after already disappointing 55 million opening weekend. The massive decline means the Flash faced the second biggest weekend box office drop in DC history with 72.5, beating out the previous record of 71.5 by the Suicide Squad. And yeah, they show you that right here. The Flash 72.5. Suicide Squad 71, Jonah Hex, Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice, and then Shazam was right there. So look, in the same year, right, you got 2 of the biggest box office drops in DC history, Shazam and The Flash. You understand what I'm talking about right now when I say that this thing is taking humongous amounts of brand damage right now? James Gunn has to figure out what to do. He got to come out with a cold banger, okay? He got to come out with something everybody's looking like, yo, man, that's one of the coldest shows I've ever seen from DC or from anybody in history, all right? It's got to be something. It's got to be on that like House of the Dragon Andor level, you know what I'm saying? Like a show, because it won't be a movie because I believe Superman Legacy is going to be the first film in the DCU. So I know that they got Creature Commandos and Waller or whatever coming out. Maybe if there's something else that he could kind of slide in there, that's just going to be amazing. He's got to bring out something before Superman Legacy. And I don't think that Batman, the Batman 2, Matt Reeves Batman, I don't think the Joker, because those are in the Batman universe and everybody respects that. Yo, it's DC, but that's Batman. That's separate and everybody's going to see it as such. Nobody's going to be like, well, we already know that it's not part of the DCU and it's just kind of a separate thing. So even from a brand perspective, it's really not going to fix the DCU brand or the DC brand. It just helps Batman. You know, they're almost kind of like 2 separate things. But yeah, he got to come out with something cold. This thing is ugly right now in terms of the DC brand and where it's at this moment. Hey, look, The Flash suffered the 3rd worst second weekend drop in superhero movie history at the domestic box office, only beaten by Morbius and Steel. Yeah, so it's right up there, you know, with all of these other films, you know, in terms of the biggest box office drops from week 1 to week 2. You know, and look, nobody's going to sit up there and say that any of these films are like award-winning classics. These are some of the, you know, again, Suicide Squad. I actually like this film. As out of all of these, I actually like this one the best. But yeah, I mean, you know, maybe the ultimate cut of Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice. That's about it. Like the rest of these are just like, You know, actually, Hellboy 2 was actually decent. This was a decent film. Yeah, you can see here on Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, the reviews obviously are not sparkling, you know, 65% on the critics and 84% with the audience, right? I mean, it's not terrible, certainly not greatest superhero movie of all time quality, right? And if we dig a little bit deeper, top critics are probably about where I would think it would be. It's about, like I said, it's about a 6 out of 10, you know, and 5.8 out of 10. Yeah, that's where I have it. I have it about a 6 out of 10. in terms of overall, the quality of the film. All audience at 80%. Again, most people would probably say it's a cool movie. It's not the greatest movie ever, but it's all right. That's how most people will look at The Flash. What does James Gunn got to do for this brand? At this point right now, the brand is taking huge damage. We still got Blue Beetle coming up. I don't know how that's going to do, but, based on them trailers, I'm not thinking that that's going to, save the day. And then you still got Aquaman and, you still got Amber Heard to deal with that. So there's still problems on the horizon for DC. What does James Gunn got to do to rehabilitate the brand? Can he even rehabilitate it? Short of saying, hey, Henry Cavill, hey, man, can you come back into the studio? We want to talk to you about maybe doing some Elseworld shit. That's the only thing I can think they could do. All right? Other than just knocking it out of the park with whatever he's going to do, and as the first iteration of the DCU, Creature Commando's got to be, that better be great. Can't be a 7 out of 10. Got to be amazing. Same thing with Waller or whatever else he might be able to put out there ahead of Superman Legacy. He's got to do the job. He got his work cut out for him. Anyway, folks, what do y'all think about this situation with The Flash? We can't say we didn't warn them, right? Can't say we didn't warn them, but you guys go ahead, jump down in the comments, give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.